and welcome back. Today we're going to check out an upgrade for Gundam Aerial from the Mercury. Now, while I'm a fan of this anime and this design, it is a somewhat stumpy design. We will actually go through the process of building it, and we'll take some photos of it in its normal mode, and then add the upgrade. The maintenance team Heightening Kit, and as you can see here, it's just simply put inside of a Ziploc. And we have the parts here. So we can get the runners knocked out. And I actually twisted this one, so it's actually coming off already, taking out the packaging. And then we have the instructions. What this is supposed to do is replace joints on the torso as well as the legs. So even though it is minor and not a whole lot of parts, it should change the figure quite a bit. So let's go and get this built and see if it's worthy of our collection. Building this kit was a nice experience. HG kits have come a long way since when I was a kid. I thought the design was appealing, but I grew to enjoy it more as it was the first Gundam series I watched with my daughter. Some might call it Gundam for girls, but it was great for us to bond over similar interests. This upgrade builds alright for the most part. It fits in well with the Bandai quality, but it does feel like the plastic quality is a little bit different. But I found when combining the ankle parts, it bent one of the pegs. I would suggest using something deep in the hole on the lower peg, or consider trimming the peg if it bends. I used a little drill bit here, and it stayed together firmly. Now this is the leg with all the components removed, and I wanted to illustrate a couple things. One, when you're removing it, you may end up with a little bit of stress marks on here. If you're not going to use it again, it's not a big deal, but it's something to be aware of. And I wanted to show you a comparison between the new joint. You can see how we've gone with just a single pivot there. We have a ball here, a peg here, and a ball here for this part, to a longer joint. You can see how this cab is much longer, but also this part is built into there. We've gained a rotation, and the ball here is also on a hinge. So we've gained a little bit of articulation in that as well. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side and reassemble, and we'll see how that looks. Now, since we had already assembled this kit, we're going to have to take it apart to do the upgrade. One thing I do enjoy is the fact that this will retain its 30-minute mission qualities. If you didn't know, this is actually a 30-minute mission style kit, and we'll go over some of the compatibility at the end. But the first thing we'll do is the hand extension. So we just pop these out. And then this piece will go right there in the wrist peg, and it will extend the wrist joint. So we get to keep our articulation, and we get a little bit of length on there. Now, like I said, this is like a 30-minute mission kit. So this back piece here needs to be removed, and once that's gone, we can actually just unclip the legs. I think I'm going to use a tool because it's a little hard to get to. I think once I've removed these other parts, it might not be so bad, but I'll go ahead and pull this off. With the back plate removed, we can just pop this out. We'll remove the foot and this part here. As you can see, this will allow us to hook up other kits, and that includes 30-minute missions. Taking off the torso is a little bit more involved, but really what you just need to do is take off the two side pieces. Now, this fell off when I took it off, so that's not necessary, but it will come. And all we've got to do is get this middle section out, which we have right there, and you can compare it to the new piece. And what you can see here is in the new piece, we have the same ball joint and where it connects, but it is longer, and we gain a little bit of ab crunch. Knock that piece off, but it's not a big deal. Just to illustrate it. So let's go ahead and put this back together, and I'll show you the completed mech. Aesthetically, I do think it was improved with the new proportions. The longer torso really kind of calls back to Barbados, and actually it'd be kind of cool to see that addition here, though it wouldn't be true to the original design. I think with the longer arms and legs without the torso, they do look a bit overextended. However, when you combine all three, I think it looks really good. The build itself went pretty well. I would say if I was to know anything, the section on the torso, there's a little piece of plastic, I would glue that one. I would also suggest building this kit exclusively with the add-on if you want to go this route, because if you have to build it beforehand and take it apart, you could end up with some situations like stress marks, cracks, breaks, etc. You know, I'm quite happy with how this turned out. While I think that we could use a little bit more of an extension from the white section of the torso, I still think it looks pretty good. Also note you can decal this up. The only decals I've applied are the special effects parts that you see in this area and here and on the back. I have picked up some water slide decals for this kit, and I may do a video on that as well. Also keep an eye open for my reels because I will post some combination of this with other 30-minute mission kits. Now let's go ahead and check out the articulation. It is largely the same. We retain the same hips, we retain the same shoulders, elbows, knees, which are a nice double joint in here. And what we have gained is a little bit of articulation in the ankles, and you could also argue in the wrists, and finally in the waist. Now remember, I warned you about this piece here. Could fall out, should be glued, but we can now go forward, where we were colliding before. Goes vertical, doesn't go back. We can do some rotation. And then of course we have some nice rotation in there as well. So we've gained a little bit of articulation in the torso to make some really dynamic fighting poses. The wrist only gains a little bit of articulation because there's some flex here. However, I don't know if I would really consider that articulation. And when we go to feet here, one thing to note here, I think there's a little bit of separation that could be improved. If you're a modeler and you have glue, I think gluing that in there will resolve it, but it's nothing major. It seems like maybe has to file down some pieces in the back here inside. Most people will not notice it. It's not a huge ordeal, but it's something to be aware of. We do gain a little bit in the ankles and feet because we have rotation here, which allows you to work with this pivot a little bit more. And we also have this, which can be moved down that far. So if you have some flying poses, you can get some dynamic movement. I think that's nice, though there's one thing to note is this is a little more loose than it originally was. You can tighten that up by applying a little bit of adhesive on top of the ball joint and letting it dry before assembly, and that will give a little bit more to increase the resistance and make this be a little bit less floppy. But overall, I think this is a pretty good buy. Considering the price, it is, in some areas, probably half the price of the kit once you get it shipped from overseas. But if you're somewhere on the other side of the world where this is something you can pick up locally, it actually probably a pretty good price. With that said, you can pick yours up from Show's e-store. I'll put a link in the description below. But let us know in the comments if this is worthy of your collection. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.